Coach Eric Nicksick expressed his disappointment, stating that Sean Strickland's UFC 312 performance was underwhelming and didn't meet expectations. He emphasized, "We know what he's capable of, and that wasn't it."
It was just uninspired fighting to me. It just seemed like he was sleepwalking. It was tough, man. I was just trying to dig him out of it. Through the rounds, I didn't know if he was trying to collect data in the beginning or if it was just a slow start or what was going on. But, as the rounds began to progress, I can just tell that it just didn't feel like he was in it the way most of the times that he is. So, man, let's not forget, this is a title fight. And I take these title fights very seriously. And I don't know. I was just disappointed, man. I was disappointed with the whole entire outcome, the whole fight as a process. Just thought it was just kind of flat. I think he needs to evaluate what he wants to do in the sport. If it's just to make money, then that's great. Let us know. I want to coach world champions. So my motivations are different. So I think that just to kind of show up and do that and not really back it up, just to me was just kind of uninspiring.
Before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Sean Strickland was upset with coach Eric Nicksick after he criticized Strickland's performance in a UFC 312 rematch against Dricus Du Plessis. Strickland admitted, "I like Eric, but will he probably be in my corner? Probably not," indicating a potential split in their professional relationship. Despite enduring a broken nose, Strickland shared that the fight camp was a struggle with many excuses for his unanimous decision loss.
All right, guys, keep tagging me with this whole Eric thing, and goddamn it, because I like Eric. He's a friend of mine, and he's going to continue to be a friend of mine. Will he probably be in my corner? Probably not. We have so many great guys at Extreme, Nate, Ray Cepho. We have so many savages that I would love to corner me. But, man, that entire fight camp was just a struggle. Like, it was a fucking struggle. And, guys, we all have excuses as to why we didn't win or why we won and we shouldn't have won. We all fucking have excuses, and they don't fucking matter. The only reason why I'm making this video is because Eric had to go do a fucking podcast and become an influencer. So now I gotta kind of explain myself. Opportunity. And not just with fighting. Opportunity never comes when it's supposed to. It doesn't matter what the circumstances, what the situation is. You will never wake up and say, no, today is the perfect day for opportunity. It will come at the worst fucking time. It will come at the worst time. And how many times it comes and you raise your hand and you say, you know what, I'm fucking ready. A lot of times you fail. A lot of the times you fail. But a lot of times you don't fail. And it's like, you must say yes. This is not an excuse, but that entire camp was just a struggle of I'm good. Knowing you're not good. I was in Colombia 8 weeks out, 7 weeks out, and getting stem cells on a broken bone. Again, bone healed fine, not an excuse. It just kind of weighs in the back of your head. I was training with that Ritter guy, the submission guy, and he hit me with a whizzer. It was already broken. And dude, I thought my arm fucking snapped. It's like, I got to go to Colombia. This is fucked. But all camp, this is just in the back of your head. And you just keep telling yourself, I'm fucking good. And I think this is just what all men do. All men do this. You look in the mirror and even though you know you're not good, you're like, I'm fucking good, dude. You're a fucking man. You sack up. But all camp, dude, whether it be, the staph infection, the broken arm, the having to get a visa that didn't get approved until a week, not being able to get cornermen out there. This entire camp was like a struggle of, I'm not good, but me looking in the mirror and saying, sack up. And man, nothing away from Dricus. He came there, fought his ass off, fucking broke my nose. Dude, fucking, hell yeah, man. Hats off, dude. You fought like a fucking man. But, you guys, I don't fight to put belts on the wall. I don't fucking fight because, Eric wants to go do a fucking fancy podcast. That's not why I fight. Before fighting, you guys, I had the lowest self-esteem, fucking couldn't even look at myself in the fucking mirror. I didn't even know what dignity was, when I first started fighting. And kind of through fighting, man, I've learned so much. I've met so many fucking amazing people. Through the UFC and fighting and fight fans, you guys have changed my fucking life. You've made me grow so much as a person in the ring and out of the ring, and that's why I fight. I fucking love it. I got a lot of fights left on my contract. I love fighting. I'm going back to the gym. I'm working my ass off, and I'm starting from fucking square one. And that's just kind of how life is, dude. You always get a step back. where you're like, all right, well, I got to start over again. And you have a choice. You either sack up and you do it, or you fucking quit. And I'm going to sack up and do it. And you know what? Fuck you guys. I broke my nose like fucking 3 times in that round. And every single time, I didn't quit. I didn't go sit on the stool and say, hey, my nose is broken, I can't fight. I adjusted every fucking time. And I thought, you know, man, maybe I'll get lucky, maybe I won't. But at the end of the day, dude, we all have a fucking story, and no one gives a fuck. I'm grateful for my life. I love my job. I love my fans. I support you guys just as much as you support me. Back in the gym, sack up and on to the next.
Alex Pereira was confused by Sean Strickland's performance at UFC 312, with his coach Eric Nicksick revealing Pereira leaned over several times asking, "What the hell's going on with Sean?"
He's cool, man. Like he's intimidating as all hell. So, but he was cool. Like, you know, leaned over a few times and you know, he's looking at me like, what the hell's going on with Sean? I'm looking at him like, man, we need to get this out of him, you know? So no, he was cool. And a lot of great insight. Love having him there. You know, a lot of people thought that like he flew all the way out there to corner Sean. That was not the case. He was already there. That's why we wanted him in the corner. He was already a resource for us in being in Australia. I think he was doing some seminars or something like that while he was out there. So, but him and Polino, man, great guys. Love having them. So it was an honor.
Khamzat Chimaev has taken to social media to launch a series of verbal attacks against UFC champion Alex Pereira. He posted pictures of Alex Pereira getting knocked out by Israel Adesanya and wrote, "Sama, wake up." Dustin Poirier is gearing up for what might be his last fight in the UFC and is rumored to be considering opponents like Charles Oliveira or completing his trilogy with Justin Gaethje. However, he ruled out Paddy Pimblett for his final bout, calling it a legends-only showcase, which led to Nate Diaz taking a jab at Poirier on Instagram, calling him a pussy. Jorge Masvidal believes that Movsar Evloev could be the one to dethrone Ilia Topuria as the UFC featherweight champion. Masvidal stated, "I think he's definitely got the style to beat him." He emphasized Evloev's strong wrestling background and versatility in the octagon.
We got another killer from American Top Team. This one sucks for me because these are 2 friends of mine. I love both these guys. I love Ilia and I love Movsar. Movsar is the complete opposite in many ways because he could wrestle, man. He's over there from this, he's not from Dagestan or Chechnya. He's like right in between the region. I'm forgetting the name right now. Maybe Ossetia or I forget the name. But this dude could wrestle. He's undefeated in the UFC, has great fucking wins. And this guy's like the type of guy that you would think you need to beat a guy like Ilia, right? Like, don't stand with him because obviously he's got some secret sauce in the hands. Take this dude down and control him, and maybe Mozart's the guy that could do that, you know?
Dominick Cruz has announced his retirement from MMA due to a recurring shoulder injury, stating, "I was on borrowed time." Despite trying to adjust his training and planning a comeback fight against Rob Font, his shoulder problems worsened, forcing him to reassess his future. Cruz described the pain as a 20 on a scale of 1 to 10, leading him to prioritize long-term health over fighting.
It was like I had one dislocation about 8 weeks prior to this recent one that I posted, and that one kind of like set the stage that, okay, I'm on a different kind of timeline than just age, which I didn't really add to the equation. It was more just like, I feel good, I'm still fast, all these things, right? So then your shoulder falls out, and then you're like, okay, I rehabbed it for 6 weeks straight, and then I went and sparred with Jeremy Stevens and like a few other pro boxers just to see where it was really at after the rehab I had done, and I did really well. I felt really good. Nothing messed with me at all. So after that, I booked the fight, and then they offered me Rob Font. So that's why I was like, oh, I should just take it. I'm not gonna get in better shape. I've been training really hard. I feel amazing still now. I felt amazing before the second dislocation, and then that's why I took the fight. So sorry, Rob Font, as well. I respect the guy. He's done a lot in the sport himself and done a lot of big things. So nobody wants to pull out as a pro fighter because it sets somebody else off too. It sets the fans off. It sets the fighter off. It's more than just me when you pull out, and that's why I didn't want to do it. But I knew I was on borrowed time, to put it quickly. I was on borrowed time after the first dislocation. So I was like, as long as I get through this camp and just stay semi-safe, more drilling than a lot of live wrestling, just kind of switch up the training just a little, not completely, then I should be fine. Well, the day I needed to do a little bit of live, is when it hurt. You got to do some of it, you know. So I was doing some groundwork, and it was a basic thing I've done a million times. You know, you're on your back from half guard, and you get up on your elbow, and then you reach to a single, and you use your elbow to get up. And when you put the post on the ground like that with somebody on top of your head, and I just pretty much it just shot out the back the second I put my elbow down and went to pull in that single leg. And the difference with this one from the first one was the first one was only out for like maybe 3 minutes. It was a nice quick slide back in. Shout out to Tim Roberts and Lauda and everybody at the UFC PI here in Mexico City. They were able to pull my shoulder right into place pretty quick. That was excruciating pain, but it was so quick. Whereas the second one, they went to pull it in and it did not go back. It just stayed where it was at. And all the muscles locked it down on top of a nerve. And for about an hour and a half, you know, from driving to traffic to the hospital to getting to the hospital and then needing to get an x-ray, because you can't, it's not like the movies where you just slide a shoulder back in every time. It doesn't always work that way. So the second time it didn't work that way. When they went to slide it in, it was sitting very particularly. So they have to do an x-ray to see how to pull it back in, what direction to yank your arm when they reset it. Because if you pinch certain nerves, then it can shut the whole arm off, and it's just really damaging. So I'm in the hospital for an hour, 15 minutes. My arm starts turning blue. And when I see my fingers turning blue and just things being weird and the pain was excruciating, it just gave a different perspective for me. You know, I always say I deserve this kind of pain. And the reason is because that's the only way I learn. So this was enough pain to teach me something and get me to kind of like say, okay, it was just different. It was different. I've broken my arm on people's heads in practice. Go the next day. Don't go to the hospital because I want to make sure it's broken and not waste the time and the money. So, and I've been fine with that. You know, just drink a little bit of alcohol and you're good until the next day. But this one, it was a 20 on a scale of 1 to 10. So it just changed my perspective of where the shoulder's at.
If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe. If you don't, you'll miss out on daily MMA news and people will think you're a casual. Paddy Pimblett claims that Ilia Topuria isn't that big of a star to take on lightweight champion Islam Makhachev. Topuria, who boasts an impressive 16-0 MMA, 8-0 UFC record, is considering a title defense against Alexander Volkanovski, but is keen on moving up a division to challenge Makhachev.
Islam defended it. There's talk of a fight with Islam and Ilia Topuria coming, you know, in International Fight Week. I mean, how do you see the landscape of the lightweight division at the minute?
I can't see Ilia fighting Islam. You know what I mean? He's only defended the belt once. Normally, you need to defend the belt like 3 times, and he's not that big of a star to just jump. He's not McGregor. You know what I mean? To just jump right up and fight for the other belt. So I can't personally see that happening, but we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? I heard Ilia's headline in the 314 event against Volk, but you don't know till nothing's finalised with the UFC. Like, I've been told this and that in the last few weeks, last few months, and you know, we'll just see what happens.
KSI claims he attempted to set up fights with Tony Ferguson, Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal, and Donald Cerrone, but they all declined. Eventually, Dillon Danis was secured as his opponent for March 29th. KSI expressed his determination by saying, "Screw it, let's just go. Let's just have fun."
How do we end up with Dillon Danis?
Well,
what were the steps?
We've you know, reached out to so many other fighters. You know, I've done a YouTube video on this, but I reached out to, my team reached out to Nate Diaz because, you know, we wanted to show the world that, okay, Jake beat Nate Diaz in the way that he beat him. Let me show what I can do. Similar to what I did with Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury obliterated Jake. Like, everyone who watches that fight goes, yeah, Jake Paul got his ass handed to him and he lost. Whereas with the fight with me and Tommy, everyone's there like, KSI should have won that. Tommy Fury shouldn't have won, Like, I showed the levels. I showed that I was better than Jake. And we wanted to do it again with the Nate Diaz fight. You know, I wanted to fully knock him out. And then, you know, he said no. So we went to Masvidal. He couldn't do it because of his UFC contract. Went to Donald Cerrone. He said no. Went to Tony Ferguson. He said no. So, you know, we're scrambling. Like, all right, what are we going to do? Like, we need to try and find an opponent. We've got a date, March 29th, set. So we need to find someone. And then eventually, Vance comes through to me like, we got Dillon Danis. And I'm like, great. Well, you know, I was like, you sure we don't have any more options? And he was like, no, man, we're literally on the bare bones here. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just go. Let's just have fun. You know what? I finally get my hands on him. Logan did his thing. I want to fully knock him out. I want to show the world that, yes, if he's going to double guard like that, he's going to get absolutely obliterated, because I'm a guy that looks to kill. I'm a guy that looks to, you know, hunts. I look for blood. I want to destroy you. I'm not going to just let you survive. So, yeah, I tried to do it against Tommy Fury. Butter was just too heavy. Butter was just too heavy, man. That day was the day I realized that weight makes such a difference.
The 2024 Sportico list of the top 100 highest paid athletes features 6 boxers, including Jake Paul at number 52, but no MMA fighters. What do you think this means for the sport of MMA, and do you ever think we'll see a time when MMA fighters get paid close to what the highest paid athletes get paid? That's all for today. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more MMA content. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on the screen to get caught up.